Attackers are looking for unpatched devices that create openings, that give them that foothold in your environment, and they exploit these vulnerabilities to try and get access into the network, and then they start perpetrating their attack once they do have access. The first challenge of exploited vulnerabilities is understanding what those vulnerabilities are in your environment. You need a way to get visibility of those, but then also prioritize those vulnerabilities. There's a lot of vulnerability management solutions out there that you can go with, Qualys, Tenable, many others, and they're going to give you a big list of vulnerabilities that you need to start tackling, but knowing which ones to prioritize, which ones are most important, it can be a really time-consuming and difficult task, right? But it's become so important because so many attackers are using these vulnerabilities to get access to your systems. So you need to make sure that you're staying on top of patching, you're doing it regularly to ensure that you keep that best security posture during that. Now, Sophos doesn't have a vulnerability management or a patch management solution, right? But we recognize that this is a really important part of cybersecurity that we needed to help starting to address. But we've been making a big push towards what we call cybersecurity as a service. And we're focusing on areas of cybersecurity that are taking so much time away from IT teams that it's making it difficult for them to do other parts of their job. And we recognize that vulnerability management is probably exactly one of those areas of cybersecurity that we should be pushing towards that cybersecurity as a service model. So we have introduced something called managed risk. Next slide, please. And to do this, we partnered with Tenable, which is a clear industry leader in that space. They're a best of breed vendor. They've been doing this job incredibly for the last 10 years. And we know them quite well in the region. So one of my colleagues, Dave Morales, reached out. We wanted to build out what we call Sophos Managed Risk. And this is where we are using Tenable to provide a managed service, managed vulnerability management service to our MDR customers. So we can scan your external attack surface, understand exactly what assets you have, understand what vulnerabilities are there, prioritize those vulnerabilities. Then we do continuous risk monitoring. So we're doing weekly scans to ensure that we constantly stay on top of what these vulnerabilities are. And then when it comes to the prioritization, yes, there's a dashboard within Sophos Central that tells you these are the critical, high, medium, low, and you can go through and review all those within Sophos Central. But you also have access to a team of experts. You've got access to the managed risk team, vulnerability management experts 24/7. You can reach out to them, you can ask for advice, you can raise a case in the portal and talk to them, and they'll run you through which ones you need to prioritize, which ones you're more susceptible to within your particular organization, and it's custom to you as a customer. It's a big benefit to the cybersecurity as a service model. And the other thing we do is we identify new risks fast. And what that means is if there's a critical vulnerability that comes out, I'm talking a P1 incident vulnerability where maybe a Fortinet firewall has a new vulnerability that allows an attacker to get direct access into an organization's network. It's something everyone needs to know about straight away and patch immediately. If one of those new critical vulnerabilities comes out, we immediately scan the entire managed risk customer base. If we find any customers that are susceptible to that, we'll raise a case, we'll reach out to them, we'll get you on the phone and say, hey, this has just happened. We need you to patch this immediately. It's high priority because you're going to be severely at risk if you don't do that. So it's a way to sort of extend that 24/7 coverage to critical vulnerabilities rather than just ransomware attacks on your endpoints or attacks coming through the firewall, for example. Now, right now, it's for external attack surface management only. So we're just looking at external assets, top level domains and IPs. But later in the year, we are going to be moving this to internal assets as well. So your endpoints and servers. So keep an eye out for that one as well. We're going to be extending that service to everything within that environment as well. So big things coming, but very exciting new service with Sophos.
So 24/7 coverage is obviously a really key thing when thinking about cybersecurity. It's a big area.